This video will be hopefully a quick tour of a mixing board. And this mixing board I bought specifically for using on Zoom. And so I got it around 2020. I don't recommend this mixing board because it's actually starting to sort of break down already. But that's just the nature of it, I guess. So let's get into this. So this particular mixing board has 8 channel strips. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are mono and primarily for microphones. And then the next 4 are stereo pairs. Typically they would be used for like computers, using for music in our application. And then let's look a little bit more closely at the channel strip itself. So each channel has a fader. You'll notice that the over here on the left end of the mixing board, these are for the microphones, and I don't want the mic sound to go into the room during the class, so they're all down. So these faders, right? You can move the fader here. And then up here is the mute switch, so you can mute the microphones, and I do this before I start the class so that the online members don't hear all the noise in the training room. And then above the mute button, there's the pan. There's the pan pot. We humans have 2 ears, and stereos have 2 speakers. And the pan is, it moves the signal more to the left in the channel, or moves the signal more to the right, like this. And this pan is connected to the stereo, the main output over here, which it's one fader, but it actually controls the left and right speakers. And I don't want to get too much into this, but I should mention, if you look at these buttons, there's the button 1, 2, and then there's a button left, right. So let's say for the music computer here, I have the left, right button is pressed so that it'll send the computer music to the main output so that the members can hear it in the room, and also I can hear it too. Okay, so that is what the pan does. And then above that is these are the aux sends. So there's 2 aux sends. One says FX, that's for the effects which are built into this mixing board, which I don't use. There's no reason to sound like we're giving class from a cave. And then the other, so that's the sort of orange button, orange knob, and then above it is the green knob, and that says monitor. MON stands for monitor. So that's the monitor send. So these aux sends take the signal in each channel strip, and we can send it to some place other than to the stereo bus. Okay, so I'll get more into that. Then there's EQ. So you notice my microphone EQ is I will roll the bass off because that takes the rumble out of the sound, because this is for voice. A little bit of bump in the mid-range. It's a 2.5 kilohertz. It's a little bit, that's kind of where the voice side resides, a little bit in this tone here. So it helps, mid-range helps us understand the voice. We don't really need the high EQ. That's something for like cymbals. And we're not using cymbals in our class. And then here is the gain. This is a very important control. It sets the overall level of the microphone in the channel strip. So if we keep going, above the gain is the low cut. And again, it's cutting out the low frequencies. Yeah, that's 100 hertz. So there's really nothing that contributes to us understanding the human voice from 100 hertz and down. Okay, and we don't need to be concerned with the insert or the high impedance button, but you can see here the microphone, right? So these are XLR connectors. So they have 3 prongies on them. Okay, so that's the channel strip. And the stereo ones are similar, so we don't need to duplicate the controls for both the left and right signal. They just put it all on one strip. It's very convenient. So you can see there's input for computer with the red cable, and the other cable there in channel, what is that? Anyways, it's channel for the CD player, 9 antenna CD player. Okay. So let's look at the green knob. That's the monitor aux send. And you can see over here it says aux master. So this control controls the overall level. All of these channel strips, aux signals are combined at the aux master, and then that signal goes to here where it says monitor send, M-O-N send. And this is the point, this is where I send the signals out of the mixing board to the Zoom computer. So how does it, I have a very long cable, which is it's a headphone extension cable. They're cheap and they carry the signal very well over long distances. Okay, I'm not going to go all the way to the Zoom computer on this one. And there's a few other things here. There's a sub out, which is you see the 1, 2, and that corresponds to the 1, 2 buttons here. So these are kind of controller buttons that assign the signal to different places on the mixing board. So you can see, even though this is really not a lot of what this mixer can do, still there's a lot to talk about. So the sub 1 and 2 master is here, and I use that to, if I want to like record somebody's voice during the class to my phone, I do that here. You can see there's a little phone connector. So, and then the last thing is the 48 volts. It seems like many Jirojas don't really know what this is for, because whenever I go to a center, this button's always on. So this provides a 48 volts for condenser microphones. So the typical handheld mic doesn't need the 48 volts. It doesn't hurt it to send the voltage to it. It's sent through the XLR cable. It's not good for iPods though. I almost blew up my iPod once, plugging it into a hot cable. And so what does that do? So I have a condenser mic here. It's one of my mics that I use for class. It's a boundary mic, and you can see the green lights on. That means it's powered. So if I hit this button, if I turn it off, the green light's going to go out. It takes a little bit of time. Okay. Yes, it's fading out. So you can see the 48 volts button is off. And that's the conclusion of my video. 감사합니다.